Dear learners, welcome to a practical session on visualization of scientific research, patterns and trends with VOSviewer and sitemap. As we have been discussing how the visualization can be powerful tools for identifying the key patterns in the bibliographical data in the last couple of sessions. And it utilizes the various metrics and the statistical methods to evaluate the publication output of the journals, researchers, and institutions or a country on a specific field based on the citation, bibliographic coupling, and co-citation and co-authorship relationship, etc. See, there's two softwares we are going to practice in this session. The one called VOSviewer and another is a CiteSpace. Both are popular and freely available tools for visualizing and analyzing the networks and trends and patterns in the scientific literature. The VOSviewer is a free tool for constructing and visualizing the bibliometric data, and it's known for creating a co-authorship networks, bibliographical coupling, co-citation networks, and co-occurrence networks. And it can support the data of Web of Science, Scopus, and Dimensions, Lens, and PubMed databases. And it also supports the data from the Crossref, Europe PMC, and OpenLX, that which data can be retrieved through the APIs, and also it can support the semantic scholars, open citations, and Wikidata. And VOSviewer has been integrated with the Dimensions platform recently. User can instantly visualize the bibliography networks without going out of the platform. Let's we can do some of the practical things using some sample data that we have already downloaded the sample data from the Scopus and Web of Science. Again, before going for downloading the data, we have chosen the some of the keywords and one of the journal for downloading the data from the Scopus and Web of Science. And as facilities given by the Scopus and Web of Science search features, we have used the search strings and downloaded the data. Let's go one by one now. See, there is a VOSviewer. Search as a VOSviewer, you will find that URL, and it can get, see, overall it can also give you an idea the what VOSviewer and what are the kind of the networks it can be created and what are the features, and also it can give you that you know one can use some of the examples and techniques, and it's also giving you some tutorials, and it has the manuals again that the video tutorials is available, and one can go for the downloading and use the as a instructions if someone want to go for the manuals. Now we are going for installing the VOSviewer. As we can see the option here, one can click on the download VOSviewer for the Microsoft Windows. Maybe it will take little time for downloading this software. So while downloading you can also explore the some of the highlights which the VOSviewer can gives you, like it's given the data the one can download from the Web of Science Scopus. I have already explained to you, and visualization, what are the visualization features it gives and techniques, and here are the examples. See, one can look at it what are the visualization can create. It means here you can have the example of scientific fields and university profiles and also the university collaborations, and you have a journals. Means this kind of the visualization network you can create, or maybe the citation networks and co-citation networks you can create using the VOSviewer. Some tutorials, it also given the tutorials and manuals how the one can use this VOSviewer. The recent latest version of VOSviewer is 1.6.20, which is released on October 31 of 2023. And after downloading you can just unzip that file and you will find that installer. Right click and click on the run as administration, then you will just go for the yes. Again it's asking that this application requires a Java runtime environment. Maybe I have to update the Java here. Programming. Okay, and I'm clicking for download Java. Again, I'm installing it. Now it will going to install. It will take a little time, right? You can see this the how that the VOSviewer, the installer, after installation you will find that there's an option like network visualization and the overlay visualization and destiny visualizations, and there's an option for here on the left side you will find the file, item and analysis. Now we can quickly go for the how we can create the various type of bibliometric networks using this VOSviewer. As I was mentioned that I have already downloaded the sample data from the Scopus and Web of Science. Let me show you how my data set look like. And here I have a Scopus data what I would downloaded in a particular journal, and again I have the data for Web of Science using a various again you on the specific domain. You already have a knowledge about how we can download the data from the Web of Science Scopus. I'm not going for how we can extract the data. And now we have the data ready in that, and then we can go for the create. So after creating, there are three options called one for create the map based on the network data, the other is the create the map based on the bibliographic data, and third one is create the map based on the test data. We have the bibliography data, and then so we are selecting the create a map based on the bibliography data. You can see that using this option we can create the co-authorship, co-occurrence, citations and bibliographical coupling and co-citation map based on the bibliographical data. I'm going for next now. After next we have to select the data source. There are three options here. Download the data through the API and read the data from the bibliography data files and read the data reference managers. As I was mentioning that see this data what we have downloaded from the Web of Science Scopus. So we have selected the second one. Click on the next. Here we have to choose the which data specifically from the Scopus or Web of Science. I'm just selecting the data from the Web of Science, and now I'm going for browse. Now I'll go for the my data where I keeping my data. See in the Web of Science as some limitations we can't download the all the data in this at the single time, but we can download the small amount of data. It's a maximum of 1000 entries, so we can create the 1000 entries of data in the multiple files. All the multiple files can be added at once to the VOSviewer. Added the my Web of Science data, and then I'm clicking for next. Data has been imported. Giving the option a type of the analysis. Now I'm going to tell you that how we can create the co-authorship and co-occurrence, right? And let's go with the co-authorship. The three options the right side is given here. The one can go for the author-based co-authorship, organization-based co-authorship, and country-based co-authorship. If you can select the author-based co-authorship, you just have to go for the next, and it will going to give you the minimum document of an author. You always you keep the minimum document of an authors, because if it's a minimum document of author, it will, if you keep minimuming the numbers, it will take the maximum number of documents for consideration. Now I'm just keeping the two. I'm going for next. Now it comes for the 961 that has been selected for this creating the author based network. Now we can also look at it after before final creating the networks. If one can also manually can deselect that, then click on the finish. This is how you will creating the authors network. This is the visualization the one can create, but this can be, you can also look at the item where are your clusters, where are the clusters, how it can, and you can have the option for analysis that you can look at it, or if you would like to rotate, you can click on the rotate, right? You can update the cluster, and here in the right side it is given that the how it's the weightage of networks visualization. It maybe you can click on the citation based weightage or the document based weightage, but most of the visualization goes for creating the visualization network with the document. And there's an option for if you can also go with the If you would like to change the font's style, you can also change the styles, and you can have the length. And here there is an interesting option called, how you can your curve line look like. It may be the color lines, or it may be the curve lines. And there's an option you can edit the colors. So you can, for every cluster you can change your colors. So how you can look that visually presentable to your graphics. Since these are the, options are available, you can go for the network visualizations, and same thing you can look at the overlay visualization, and you can see that the density visualizations. After you finalizing your visualizations, you can have the save, where you can click on the save if you'd like to, or you can take this a screenshot directly if you would like to save this um, as a image format. I'm just saving with co-authorship as a network, as authors png. Now this is how we can create the co-authors by the author. If you want to go for the another one, we have to go for the create and next, and then because we already added the data here, and then we can go for the next here, and we have done the co-authorship by the author. We can also do the co-authorship by the organization. The only we have to deselect the author and select the organizations, and click on the next. We have to minimize these numbers, a number of organizations by the co-authorship, and you can see that 705 numbers of documents have been considered for this network. And we can look at the name of the organizations, and we can click on the finish. This is how we can find the visualization network of co-authors by the organizations. Those features are available for changing the fonts, or changing your visualizations, and also the images. And you can always look at your clusters on the left side, and you can do some analysis. And if you would like to rotate your visualization, you can do that. I'm doing the screenshot. I'm going for co-authorship and organizations. Now I'm going back for the create the map based data. I'm going to read the data from the bibliographical databases files, and we have already in the Web of Science. Now I'm going for co-authorship by the countries. We can see that the number of co-authors, the country wise. See, this is how we can create. You already know that cows and these clusters. The biggest one has the more quotas with the countries, because it can clearly say that international collaborations of the authors. Right? If you would like to have a line, there's an option for you putting the cows, how your line should be. You always can look at the, you can just unclick the cow lines. It will directly, and this can give you that, you can just look at that, from the where are these networks from have been collaborated with the other countries. Like it's like the authors of USA has been collaborating with the number of country authors. You can maximize the length is an option there, and also if you would like to, how you can minimize your circles. There's an option also here, and there's a scale, the visualization, how you can put the scales. And you always go with the citation base, the document number of documentation base, how the weightage you are going to give for the author collaborations, between the countries. Now I'm going to save this. Now I'm just going for creating the other visualization for data what we have extracted from the Scopus. Now I'm changing from Web of Science to Scopus. I'm going to my data source where I kept my data. My data is in folder. Again, this is my folder. See, I have a Scopus data here. Now I'm just going for next. Now you can see that after enabling the uploading this corpus data, you will have a co-occurrence and citation based networks and bibliographic coupling and co-citations. With the Web of Science data, what we have seen that we already seen that how we can create the co-authorship. Now we can go for the co-occurrence. See, when you for the co-occurrence, it's like you have to analysis by the keywords, the what are the similar keywords given by the researchers among the articles. Like there's an option you can also go with the all the keywords and the author keywords and the index keywords. If we go for the all the keywords, we can just we can select the co-occurrence and all keywords we have selected on the right side of unit of analysis, and we are just going for the next here. And see, here's the minimum number of occurrence of keywords is 5. I'm just going to decrease these numbers to increase the visibilities. Now I'm keeping 3 minimum occurrence of a keyword, and I'm going for next here, and then it's showing that there are 1000 keywords have been selected for this network. I can see the keywords and number of occurrence and also the total link strength. Now I'm going for finish. See, this is how the keyword based co-occurrence network looks like. This is the human is the keyword is the maximum articles have been appeared, which is looks the bigger than other keywords. Again, the same all the features are available. If you would like to go for the the overlay visualization, you can go with that. You have an option for setting the color range for the year from the here, and also you can look at the uh, density visualizations. So I'm just selecting here for the overlay visualizations. I'm changing the visualization scale here, the weightage, the occurrence, and the score, the average publication year, and I'm changing to average publication year to the average citation, and size of the variations it can be. And look at the it may be it depends if that my visualization looks like a circles, or if I want to make a frame, right? I'm just selecting for this as a frame, and I'm also putting the font to another font, and it's also give the maximum length. And there are other options. You can put the cow line look like a cow, or the colored lines. There are you will have a background colors, add the overlay colors, it depends, right? So after you can modifying this, and once you satisfied with the visualization, the option for go for the screenshot, right? And I'm just saving this like co-authors networks of all keywords. Now we have seen that co-authors of network of the all keywords. The same way that we can also do for selecting only the author keywords. Now deselecting from the all keywords to the author keywords. I'm going for next here, decrease the numbers since there's less number of author keywords, putting for the next, and finish. See, this is how we can create the co-occurrence networks using the both keywords by the authors and the all the keywords indexed in the articles, right? I'm going to save this as a screenshot. This is again author screenshot. Right, we have seen that how the co-occurrence networks can created in the VOSviewer. If we are going for creating the citation network, see there's an option for create the citation network with this tool. This citations network can be created by the documents wise, the unit of analysis, and also the sources, a number of sources, and the authors and the organizations, and also the countries. Now let's look at the citations networks based on the organizations, and I'm just selecting this based on the organizations. I'm putting the next, and I'm just minimize the number here, and we can cut the number of organization here and then finish. See, this is how you can see that the citation network based on the organizations. You can zoom it and you can look at your how it's visually connected among the organizations. Then you can save it as a screen. Citation networks is organizations. Now I'm going for creating this citation network by the countries. How the citation networks connected with the among the countries. And this is there are 24 countries are there. I'm just going for next. Okay, you can see that how the citation networks have been connected with the countries, and this is USA. United States as the more citations, and it's been connected with the every each countries. You can see cut the United Kingdom, Netherlands, and Canada, right, and other countries as well. I'm again I'm changing some of the customization features. How this visualization we can make it better using this customization features, and I'm saving with as a screenshot, because there are other options also. You can save it out as a VOSviewer file, and you can share, login, and yeah, screenshot is always you can go for download as a PNG files. Now we have seen this for citation networks of country, but if you would like to look at the citations type of analysis, citation networks by the sources, you can go for, you can select the source or the author and the documents. If you like to do different type of the citation analysis, I'm selecting the authors. Number of authors should be minimum. I'm just putting 2. So we can see this is how this network has been created. Citation has been created by the author wise, right? With this screenshot, I'm just saving this also. Authors. Now we have created that citation network, but let's look at the bibliography coupling. How we can create the bibliography coupling using this VOSviewer. Data is been already imported. Once you have imported the data in the VOSviewer platform, you don't need to import the data every time, because you can now can do the multiple type of the analysis. You can create the various type of the networks. I'm just going for the next here, and from the citation I'm selecting the bibliography coupling, and now there are options there for unit analysis, like you do the bibliography coupling by the documents, the sources and the authors and the organizations and the country as well. Now I'm going to select for the documents of bibliography coupling, and see there are the numbers of citation of minimum documents. I'm going next, and I'm putting to finish. See, this is how you can create that author-wise bibliographical coupling. And if you would like to be changed, if you would like to go for creating the by the uh, source wise, if you would like to create the bibliography coupling by the source wise, again you have to select the source. Maybe it look like we have the insufficient sources in our data source, so it's need the minimum 3 sources, which is not available in our data. Sources means it is like journals, the whatever the publication have been published in journals. And the bibliographical coupling by the authors, I'm just selected the authors, and now I'm going for the next. And here we can go, we are increasing this numbers of minimum numbers of documents of an author, and I'm putting the 2, and then it's look like it's showing that the 180 meets our criteria. I'm selecting, there's 180 authors have been selected for this creating this network, and we can see the network authors network here, and we can click on. This is how we always can look at that creating the bibliography couplings by the authors. This visualization network can be zoom, and you can view that particular author have been connected. How many authors? It means what are the other authors? Again, you have citation base. In the visualization part, you can do this some of the you can use this some features for changing the visibility of your graphics, like you can change the weight by the document or the by the citations. And also you can use the the how your visual size variation looks like. If you would like to make it a frame, or if you would like to go for the circle, right? And again, it's there is a option there for changing the fonts. And you can look at the curve lines, how you can the curve lines look like. You just would like to have the straight lines or the curved lines. And using the background, it's an option here. And changing the colors also. Every cluster, there are 8 clusters are here. You can use the different color for different clusters. And after, you can use these options for rotate, or if you would like to update your layouts, you can do that. And you can save it out, right? Bibliographic coupling, authors, yeah. Now again, I'm going back to the for creating the bibliographical coupling by the organization. Again, I'm going for nest. And here I'm just decreasing the number here to increase the networks of the graph. And this is the number of organization to be selected are 99 for this network. And I'm click on the next, and you can look at the organizations, the what are the organization cans, and what are the number of documents and citations, and also the total strength of the link. And I also click, and then we can click on the finish. Now this is how the bibliographical coupling to based on the organizations can be creating using this VOSviewer platform. This the features are available for editings or making this visual, this graphics more presentable. Then again, we can click on the screenshot. I'm just for saving here. You can also create the bibliographical coupling for create by the country wise. I'm selecting the final one, country wise bibliographical coupling. And we have increased the numbers here. And this is made 24 countries have been made for creating these networks. And these are the list of countries. You always can look at it. And we can also, as mentioned, we can also deselect the countries which is may not required, and we can click on the finish. And this is how the country based bibliography coupling is required, because data the most very, we can see that the United States has the more bibliography coupling. United States has the more publications about this particular data what we have selected. So that's why we are getting that United States has been highlighting more with the visualization networks we have been creating here. We can save this as a country bibliography coupling. And finally, what we have another option with VOSviewer is that we can also create the co-citation networks. See, when we say that co-citation network, there are options for creating the co-citation networks of the cited references, cited sources, and cited authors. I'm selecting the cited references now. I'm also, decreasing the numbers. That's our minimum citations after cited references are. I'm putting the maybe 4 to 5. And again, next I can see the uh, cited references and citation total strength here. And then I'm click on the finish. See, this is how we can create the co-citation networks using cited references. And you always can see that it can be look at it in two ways. So one is the visualization network, another is a density network. I'm going to save this as a co-citation network of cited references. Again, I'm going to for creating the another co-citation network using with cited authors. Here I'm just minimizing the numbers. I put the 50 numbers, though I got the 483, which means that the minimum authors of citations and author are 50. And now the 483 the authors have been selected for this. I'm just click on the finish. This is how we can sort a core citation can be created using this VOSviewer. We have seen that how the VOSviewer can be used for creating the various bibliographic network. It is given the options, so once if you would like to evaluate the or analysis the bibliographic data of a journals or the an authors or the researcher of an institution in the countries, VOSviewer can easily give you the facility to create the various type of networks. Means how the collaboration network of individual researcher to other researcher, what are the major collaboration area, and which countries collaboration publication are more on particular XYZ research area. Means what we have seen that the VOSviewer is a open source software. We have been discussed that in the last sessions. There are a number of the property and data visualization tools, but the VOSviewer having the freely available tools, and also you can just it's like it's not a more complicated platform. You can just import the data, and then whatever the network that I to create, you can just have to use the features are available, and you can create the networks. The another visualization applications is CiteSpace. That CiteSpace is a Java based application for visualizing and analyzing the trends and patterns in the scientific literatures, and it supports structural and temporal analysis of a variety of network derived from the scientific publications, including collaboration networks and co-citation networks and document co-citation networks. The site space is supports the data from the Web of Science, and it is not supports the data from the any other databases like Scopus and others. But it also supposed to the data obtaining from the PubMed and NSF abstracts and others. CiteSpace provides the various functions to facilitate and understanding the interpretations of network patterns and historical patterns, including identify the past growth topical areas and finding the citation hotspots and automatic labeling clusters with the terms of citing articles. There are different versions of CiteSpace. Again, we are going to practice with the basic and which is available freely, and there is a CiteSpace version is also there, and the CiteSpace advanced version is also there, which are subscribe based. Let's go to the CiteSpace website and how we can download and install this software. Again, we have using the same data what we have used for creating the visualization networks in this VOSviewer. And here is the portal for site space. It's always showing that the site space, the visualizing the patterns, trends in scientific literature. And there are some guidelines are given here how to use, and again it's a download. And if you can scroll it down, you will find that about this tool and what are the requirement of for running this tool in your computers. I mean, since it is a Java based application, so you should have the Java in your laptops, in your PCs, and it also given the manual link. So I'm just going for the download here. Here is the option for download is that we are going to practice using the sites space basic. That's a version 6.2 or 6. Two versions are there. One is a standard, one is advanced. Obviously, if you are going to subscribe and if you're going to purchase this versions, we will have a more features and more options to do the visualizations or creating the cluster networks. Right. I'm clicking on view the product here. These are the options what we can get. You are going to click on the buy now. See, it will ask your username, that's the email address to create the account. If you are the new users, you can just put in your email address and click on the continue. Or if you have already this account, you just go and log in. I'm having my account here. I'm going here to log in using my user and password. It's okay, it's asking the verification code. This is my verification code. trusted device and verify. Now here is an option for downloading this product, CiteSpace as a basic. S- See, here is an option whether you can go with the downloading the all the files, because it has some of the readings also, and if you would like to go for the only installing files that you need, you just go here and click it. See, it's going to be download here, but now for this PC is I have already downloaded this sites space application basic. Now I'm just going for installing. After download, you just have to click here and click on next and next. It's like you are going to installing another applications where you have to mention that it's kind of the next, and I'm just mentioning yes. It's a simple installation process. Now I'm going to complete, right? Now let me open that application, site space. Yeah, it will take a little time to open these applications. So for this practices, so what we are doing in this basic version is that we have taken the web of science data of not more than 3 years, a maximum 4 years of web of science data, and we are trying to use this site space and do the how we can create the keyword clusters and country wise clusters and institutions and others, and this is how it look like after installation. And now the once you get this one, you just have to click on agree. You can see this, you have a data source here. What I was mentioning, that it's only support for data from the web of science, and you will have some of the customization field here, time, duration, what data, node types, that which node you would like to create the clusters. You may have to go for the institutions, countries, or keywords, and also the other things of using that visualizations and which view you are going to look at it. And some of the options are like the projects and data and visualizations and overlay maps. Those options are available. Now here there is a one demo is already there. It's called as a tourisms, right? But for this practical purpose, we are going to create the new project using that as here is a new. See, this is how after we click on the new, we will found the titles. We can put that any titles, the project titles that you would like to have it. I'm just putting that nptel. After that, you should have to select that the project home. It's like that folder where you would like to save your images, with your clusters, and your network. After we creating the networks using this tool, I'm just taking the path here. I'm putting that this is my project, and the data directory is something that where you have a data. Like for our data is from the web of science. Our data is in the folder. I'm taking the folder path here. This is my folder path. Right now, the data source is always in the web of science, and you have that. And the look year back, I'm just putting -1, and now I'm going to save it here. After creating the project path, and then I'm going to click here as a go. Now it's showing the rerun, and again I'm click on OK. See, after putting that, you will find the qualified record for the 150, and it's showing that you would like to go for the visualize. Now I'm going for as a click on the visualize. Yes. See, this is how the one after importing the your data, and you will find that for creating your visual networks. See, on the left side, you can look at it. What are the reference source that you found? And you have the control panel here. The control panel, if you'd like to change your clusters, so what we have done is we have selected the keyword cluster here, and here you would like to rotate, you have the option for the rotate, and here the tagline space. See the tagline space you have, and if you can click this, you will have the year ones, and this is for the colors, and you have option for it's colors, and this is one, choose the one of the following source for the label creators. If you're going to choose by the title words for creating labels, or the keywords, or the subject categories. Now let's go with the titles words, and click on the OK. Now you will find that clusters, this is like keyword clusters by the titles. So you can see that there are number of clusters, and this can also you can see by the years. If you can click the options here, if you would like to look at the year based clusters, the keyword clusters, you just have to go there, and then you just have to move forward. Now we have seen, we have look at the 2024 clusters of keywords, and this is 2022 and 2020, right? This way you can create the keyword clusters using the CiteSpace, and there are other options are there. If you know another options, if you'd like to look at with the timeline views and the uniform views, the another views, if you can click the, you will find that uniform views, uh, these buttons, and you have this three ring use views. This is how you can find it out. And if you'd like to look at the year wise timeline view, you can click it out, you will find this year wise views. Again, it's a background. If you black, if you'd like to change it out, it's look like this, means you will find that the timeline views of this clusters. Creating these keyword clusters, there's an option for you always can download it as a PDF, or if you would like to save as images, there's an option is there, save the visualization as a PNG file, and you can put the titles. There is another view also when you go for the second one, the cluster by membership. See, this is how you will find that the visually the different the types when you're going to use this cluster membership views. uh, I'm going to save this also. If you'd like to use this control panel, you can customize your uh, thresholds, how it can look. If you'd like to increase the font size, or it can also be increase the font size, or if you'd like to increase your note size, that also be possible using this control panel. And here for the node labels, the which one you would like to go for the citations, you can also show that uh, cluster, you would like to select those, and again you can also change the font size for this. Here you have the cluster labels, those show the labels over the time, that also the option is there, and the threshold and font size, means kind of the customization you can do using this control panel. And there's an option for the color map here, and choosing the color for different clusters, and the layout, the currently we are in the timeline layouts, and you can choose the different clusters buttons, and you have the views. You may go use the clusters, and you can, if you would like to use the uniform views, the three rings, and the centrality, and sigma is also another options if you'd like to look at this. There's an option for download, right? I mean, this is how we can create the keyword based clusters using the CiteSpace. And now I'm going back to how we can look at the country based clusters of using this CiteSpace. What you have seen this, we have covered that how we can create the keyword based clusters using the CiteSpace. And now let's look at that country based clusters using the CiteSpace. The same data what we are using in the tool. Again, I'm just clicking on the here. Now we found that qualified records are 143, the time frame from 2000 to 2022. Now I'm just clicking on the visualize. Now we are coming back to our this the visualization panel. Now I found that the countries are coming look this way. After this, see, the options are what we have shown, that for the views purpose, we can use the control panel, and we can create the clusters or uniform views, which can also be done here. And the trees views can also be done, and you can use that trees views. Again, it's asking that which words you would like to use for it, and I'm just going to click OK. And this is how you will find it out. A different I found it here, the titles clusters, and the countries are look like this. We can create the countries by the titles, using just uniform views. There's an option for saving the same, right. Now we can look at the how institution wise cluster can be created. And from the deselecting the countries, I'm selecting the institution here. I'm going to click on the go, and we can have that the visualizations option here. We can click it. Now we are finding there the institutions, of visualizations. Let's see that font size. We can look at that the country institution wise clusters. See, these are the clusters. I'm just going to change the font. Again, selecting the clusters by the titles, we will find that different kind of clusters here. And layouts, we have the time frame, and we have the clusters. Color map, yes. Okay, so you will find that this way you can create the institutional wise clusters. Putting that it can also be look at that how you can see the yearly relational clusters. When you select this particular year, you can see this. Now we are in the 2020 and 2022 and 20, and we are also saving this another example for creating this visualization as institutions. We have seen this how we can create the institutional based clusters, and the finally we can also look at that how we can create the authors based clusters using this platform. Deselecting from the institutions and going to have the authors. We can also look at that by creating the authors co-authors networks with this. I'm going to click on OK here, and we found that 142 records are qualified for this visualizations. I'm clicking on the visualization here, and now I'm finding the co-authors networks, and now I'm looking that how it can look like, and there are different clusters. We can also look at it by zooming that, and see, if you're going to select the different views, and I'm selecting the uniform views, so you will find the different colors of different clusters. And there's another way you can also use the three rings using this. And again, layouts and labels, it always going to give that if you would like to use the clusters, the frequency. These options are available for showing that which frequency you would like to be present, and thousands. And the font size can be increased and decreased here. And the notes font size, you can also look at it, and see, and the note size can also be increased based on your how you would like to be presents. And font size, always label linking font size is it is there. And the cluster labels, you can also look at the font sizes are available in the cluster labels. You can, yeah, minimize the overlap if you would like to click on the nodes. Labels, the cluster labels can be done using this overlap options here. It can be saved as a png here, right? I mean, what we are practicing here. This is the basic version of cluster. CiteSpace has the limited facility to visualize the creating the core citation networks or the institutional networks with using the minimum data. What we have done here, if we have the minimum data, then only it can be used, because again we can also, it has the own limitations of creating the clusters. Basic version of CiteSpace, we can't go with the more than size of the limitation of networks. If we are going to use the basic versions, it may not good doing the big data visualization networks, but yeah, it is always good for going for only one particular year of data if you would like to create the visualization networks. Big bibliographical data visualization, so it always good to, you can subscribe the advanced version, and you can create the visualization networks using this CiteSpace. With all the visualizations of bibliography data, what enables is the researcher to identify the trends and patterns and clusters within the large sectors of academic literatures, using the VOSviewer platform to identify the research impact and research networks and collaborations. And the many of the bibliographic and the scientific studies have been published with using the VOSviewer platform. CiteSpace is a good for a small data, and it may not use for the advanced versions. The tools can be used for generating the network visualizations that represent the connections between the various elements of research output. Thank you.